NewGenGamers.com.
Yeah, as soon as the PlayStation came out, the Saturn was pretty much dead in the water, which, that's the only real reason that they released it ahead of schedule to begin with, was
to knock the PlayStation.
They saw what was coming on the horizon, and it was Sony, and they freaked.
Yeah, they spazzed out hardcore.
Because they realized Sony did have the right product, developers did like what they had, they did hit the right price point, they did have the right technology for the time, they did make a sensible system, they did have the right games, they could pull off 3D games easily, etc., etc., etc.
Well,
Not
see,
good.
Sony with that same E3, if it's any kind of mirroring of what both companies were looking at, Sony basically came out and made a quick one-word announcement, or 2 words. It was $299.
Oh, snap. Oh, take that, Sega. Yeah, you want to release your console today at $400? We'll be here in 5 months at $299, bitch. And they brought it, and
so drop your price.
Yeah, so that was their counterattack to kind of really take again any steam out of Sega's sales that they were trying to garner. Okay, yeah, the system's available now, but it's still the most expensive system on the market and still not the best. So problem after problem plagued this system. It was kind of like it was born to die.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame.
Now, the genius decision-making continued at Sega.
Courtesy of Bernie Stolar, then CEO of Sega of America, who was then replaced later on by Peter Moore, who would then go on to lead Microsoft to some great things.
Stolar made some pretty horrible decisions, but he also was the driving force behind the beginning of the Dreamcast.
Yeah, he brought, we shouldn't completely badmouth the guy. He did bring some good things to the table and definitely helped Sega, but it seemed like there was some brash decision-making that maybe wasn't right in retrospect. Such as one of his more famous statements, Ray.
Oh, let me get to that. I'm almost there.
Okay.
Basically, what they did was they decided to kill off all the rest of the product line because they were flooding the market at that point with hardware that didn't need to be there. There were still Master Systems being sold in certain territories. So they said, okay, time for a fresh slate. Let's kill the Master System. Let's kill the CD. Let's kill the 32X, and let's kill the Genesis. That I think was a bad move. Killing the Genesis.
So they stopped production on all existing lines
to focus on the Saturn,
and basically killed their user base completely.
And kind of railroad them into getting a Saturn.
Yeah, you were basically left with a choice of either you're not going to play any more games on this system, which inevitably happens, but it was very abrupt, or you buy the new system after you buy the other new add-on system thing that we released.
Yeah, if you bought that 32X, sorry. So, if that's not enough to kill consumer confidence, about 2 years later, Stolar comes out, or maybe even less than that. I'm trying to remember my dates exactly here, but it happened all so fast that no one really... It was a blur.
It had to have been shortly... I mean, the Saturn couldn't have been out for more than 2 years because The Dreamcast came out in 98.
Late
Or
99.
Okay,
99.
So we'll say about 2 to 3 years after the launch of the Sega Saturn.
Yeah. Somewhere, I think it was in mid-97 when he said it. Okay, yeah. Mid-97, he said, the Saturn is not our future, was his infamous quote. So that basically was telling developers, okay, stop making stuff for it, we're done. And speaking of we're done, we're going to move on to something a little different now. Welcome back. An interesting aspect of Sega Saturn is if you put the game in as you open it and reset it, it brings you to your CD controls. Some games had in-game soundtracks. Like here we have MechWarrior in. As you can hear, we've got some bumping sounds. All different tracks from the game. They're not the greatest tracks, but they were kind of cool for game music at the time. And this is when they layered the tracks separately from the in-game. They didn't really start implementing them into the game code until later. Like some games would have them completely separate, and some developers would have them built in. I noticed that with a lot of early first generation stuff.
Yeah, and Sega even did that with the Dreamcast. I've noticed some of the Dreamcast games will have the audio tracks separate so you can listen to them. If you actually put them in the Dreamcast and go into the music player on the Dreamcast, it'll show like an image of the game as you're looking at the CD audio.
Oh, that's cool. This is what I always did back when I owned the system. It just put it into this mode and kind of relax. I don't know if you will be able to see this in the video, but there's like an outline of the planet Saturn in it. If you just look at the lighting, see how that is?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of a subtle effect, and then they have the little rocket ship. It's kind of relaxing. But let's hop into the game here. This is going to be MechWarrior 2.
Welcome to the theater of the eye.
Rods and cones report to the orbital socket.
How nice. We're trimming the toenails. What's that?
Optic nerve, this is the brain. What's going on down there?
The eardrum's going off! Go get help!
We're having a breakdown, we're having a breakdown, we're having a breakdown, having a breakdown, we're having a breakdown, having a breakdown.
What else can go wrong?
Urgent synapse on line 2. It's the sphincter.
What is going on up there?
Sega Saturn.
Welcome to the theater of the eye. Real sports.
Keep it down a little.
Real fast.
Optic nerve here. I am gonna need some help.
Real painful.
Sega
Saturn.
Now you may return to the world as you know it. And remember, look for Sega Saturn. It's out there.
You can't gamers.com.